Welcome to the Quantum Collective.
That was a bad pour. While we wait for this to go down, I guess I'll drink out of here. Like a heathen. Servers are expensive. Just use your old PC as a server. Buy this cheapo NAS that you can do some server type things on. You've heard all of that before, probably, if you clicked on this video. But building up a home lab doesn't have to break the bank. You can get the latest and greatest. That costs a pretty penny. But looking at stuff just a bit older, you can get pretty cheap. I'm going to show you my home lab, which in total was less than $600. 3 servers, under $600. But first, I'm going to talk a bit. I had a home server, not a home lab, just a home server. It's an old HP DL380 Generation 6. That's quite old. It was fine for the time, but I outgrew it. That generation of server and its idiosyncrasies finally got to me, and I took it upon myself to start trawling the internet for an upgrade. My top queries for looking for a new server are... Damn, what's wrong? My picture. My top queries when searching for a new server are... server lot. Because, yeah, like if you get in before... Yeah. It's going to go up because there's still like a day and a half left. But $300 for some Generation 8 HP servers, that's pretty good. 3 620s for $250. Although that's local pickup only. I don't know where local is. That's pretty good. If you have a lot of money, that's probably pretty good, depending on the generation of these servers. 24 Miscellaneous, anywhere from Gen 9 to Gen 6. That's probably pretty decent. Get you some blades. I want to get a blade enclosure and fill it with neat blades. That's not how I got my first server. My first server came from a wiki post on the Homelab subreddit. It recommended a DL380, and I bought one. But now that I know I'm a Homelab server weirdo, I would not suggest myself going that route again. The other query that I like to use is over here on GovDeals. You can just type in server, and obviously weird stuff will pop up, like this parcel in Lincolnton, North Carolina, but also a bunch of expensive server lots. These are all... Oh man, oh, that's in Washington. That's why. These are all probably too new for me to purchase in this manner. What I might also do, since these are big, heavy servers, is change my location. Ta-da! Oh man, server rack. I need a server rack, and that looks pretty decent. Does that come with something? It is a DVD video player, presentation switcher, and an amplifier and a media processor. And it's got a PDU. Oh shit. I want this. I might bid on this later. But you see, there's a server lot. This is the same location I bought my server lot. Cool. There's a bunch of neat stuff there. Page through the pictures. Cool. These have the bezels. Mine don't have bezels. E710. The same gen as the stuff I've got, I think. But yeah. Those are my two go-tos. Oh shit. Windows server key. Ooh, you got orange in you. Cool. But them's the two queries that I do with some frequency. It doesn't have to be on GovDeals. GovDeals is a part of liquidity services. I believe I actually found this on liquidation.com, which is mostly the same. Perhaps not. I don't know. No, I didn't find it here. I found it somewhere else. Who the fuck knows? Anyway, enough about that. While doing that trawling, I found this lot on GovDeals of all places. Lot of servers. It is a lot of servers. There is more than one full-size 42U rack of servers here. And what drew my eye first off was well, I kind of wanted a disk shelf, but I'm not keeping that. I found out Data Direct has a bunch of proprietary stuff, and I just don't want to deal with it. Plus, I don't yet have a 208 volt circuit. That's the inside of the Data Direct shelf. HP disk shelves. These. Well, not these specifically, but the main thing that drew me to this lot of servers was the presence of, yeah, that one probably. I think these are the 710s. I have two of those. Yeah, I guess I do. What drew me is the 710. It is roughly the same era as my, it's roughly the same era as my server. But, the 710s are roughly better by some percentage. And I would accept equal performance to get rid of those idiosyncrasies. Along with that is just all of the stuff that is not named, like this guy. What is this? I am interested. This chassis is being kept, by the way. Look at all that expansion. It's full height. I could fit some GPUs in there. Hey, there's some, these things. What else we got? Rails and caddies. I don't have to buy that stuff. That was it. But swapping out for one of those 710s, I thought at the time, would wipe out those idiosyncrasies I've had with my 6th Gen 380. I don't have to fire up an ancient netbook running XP so that I can install ActiveX controls over a TLS 1.0 connection, allowing me to interact with the server's IPMI. My upgrade options are more open. I don't have to get one of these 3 versions of a card. I can play around with modern server operating systems. My 380, the Gen 6 specifically, seemed to be limited to Proxmox 6. I could not install Proxmox 7, and if I did, things would break horribly. I couldn't boot Unraid at all. Probably couldn't even, I don't know, do like modernish Windows Server. So I bidded, thinking I'd go with the 710 and flip the rest to other Homelabbers. The servers I purchased weren't necessarily worth much on their own, but my server had been down for a while and I was itching to get restarted with my home labbing career. After packing all the shit in a van acquired. This is the biggest vehicle I've driven in 15 years, but I'll make do. Pallet 1 of 3. Pallet 2 of 3. Pallet 3 of 3. And now I'm gonna go get some lunch. And then heading home, I began the tedious process of seeing what I had. I settled on these 3 servers and scavenged everything of potential use from the others before inviting some recyclers over to take what was left. A 2U Supermicro dealie with 26 2.5-inch drive bays, 2 in the rear, giggity. Running an Opteron 63-something bulldozer and 256 gigs of RAM. This is my Unraid server. Poweredge 610. That is a 1U, I believe. Yes. Running a Xeon something or other. And 192 gigs of RAM. This is my Windows Administration Learning server. And it's maxed out-ish. 192 gigs because there's only, let's see, 16. There's only 12 RAM slots. Is that right? Yes, 12 RAM slots. And, I did swap out the CPU into one of these 710s, but that's when I learned that you need a 710 version 2 to support the power requirements of this CPU. So, swapped it back. I'll deal with it. Plus, the 710s have a weird thing where if you fill out all the RAM slots, it only runs at 888 megahertz. But it's like quad channel, so it probably wouldn't have mattered. And finally, this 3U maybe? Supermicro dealie with the 8 2.5-inch in a 3.5-inch bay flash caddies. This was like a flash storage server from ages ago, so the flash was probably horrible. The motherboard was swapped in from a server basically identical to the first Supermicro I described. The The motherboard in this one had a hard-coded BIOS password that jumping JBT1 didn't clear, and I want this full-height chassis. Along with the drive bays I mentioned, it's also another Opteron 63 somethings bulldozer and another 256 gigs of RAM because lol 3/4 of a terabyte of old ass RAM is funny to me. This is gonna be my retro discrete graphics card gaming thing with lots of GPU pass through, PCIe pass through, given all of these old ass graphics cards I have. As you can see, though, I can't boot it. The motherboards are not compatible, so I need some cable extensions. I'm left with boxes of RAID cards, NICs, Ethernet, SFP, SFP+, HBAs, backplanes, RAM, caddies, and all kinds of cables and shit that might be situationally useful to somebody, so hit me up. But these are just my servers, and servers alone do not a Homelab make, so stay tuned, and we'll see what happens. That's enough to get started though, so happy auctioning.